Well, you may know that Glay and I have been working to help clients break free from trichotillomania for a long time. And over the course of these many years, we've talked to a lot of folks who, in their earlier attempts to get better, have tried, among other things, some hypnosis along the way. Now, of course, we usually learn about this during the course of one of the free consultations we offer anyone who's interested in our services, which probably means that even though they've done that hypnosis, obviously, they're still calling because they're still having problems. But does that necessarily mean that hypnosis doesn't work or can't work as an intervention for trichotillomania? That's what we're going to talk about today. Stay tuned. So when it comes to trichotillomania, does hypnosis work? Can you take someone who's been suffering with out-of-control trichotillomania, maybe for years, and do some hypnosis and hope to resolve it that way? I'm going to answer that question for you, but before I do that, I think it's a good idea to first help educate you a little bit, to share with you what we know about hypnosis, what it is and what it isn't, how it works, when it works, so you have some kind of working knowledge about all this from the perspective of someone like myself who knows a thing or two about hypnosis. And at that point, you can make your own decisions. Now, the reason I know about this is not necessarily because we use a lot of hypnosis in the work we do with trichotillomania. In fact, we don't, and there's a good reason for that. For example, Glay and I have found that hypnosis is really great for certain types of interventions. In other words, in some cases, it's a tool that's likely to get you the change you want most quickly and easily for certain types of problems. And for others, like trichotillomania, it may not necessarily be the best tool to get the most profound results the most quickly, at least the way we do things. So to get back to this again, the reason I can talk about hypnosis with some degree of authority is because my doctorate is in clinical hypnotherapy. Here's probably the most important thing you need to know about hypnosis. Hypnosis is not something that someone does to somebody else. It's not as though all you have to do is close your eyes and let your therapist or hypnotherapist say some nice calming things to you and somehow you're going to be magically cured. That's not how it works. You have to understand that hypnosis is a shared experience. It's a do with, it's not a do to. The client and the hypnotherapist have already agreed in advance about what specifically is not working in a client's life and how specifically they want to be different in the future. And that, and only that, is really what the hypnotherapist should be speaking to throughout the entire hypnotherapy session. Now, sometimes this happens and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the hypnotherapist knows what the heck he or she is doing, and sometimes they don't. What are they doing instead? Unfortunately, a lot of them are just winging it. And why would this be? Well, I think it's reflective of probably the biggest problem for hypnotherapy in general, and that is, for most states, there's really no official governing body that oversees and, for example, licenses hypnotherapists. At least here in California, anybody can put up a shingle and call themselves a hypnotherapist with no training whatsoever, and there's no legal reason why a person can't do that. Now, my guess is that kind of thing would be rare. I think you're rarely going to run into somebody who's purposely trying to take advantage of you. That said, you are likely to run into folks who've had some training in hypnotherapy, but still, with varying degrees of experience and expertise. So really, it's buyer beware. If you think you want to try hypnosis, do your due diligence. When you talk to the person on the phone, listen carefully to them. Do they sound like they know what they're talking about? How many people has this person really helped? What proof do they have of that? Are they willing to offer you any references? These are all good questions, and when it comes to considering a hypnotherapist, if that's the way you decide you want to go, these are questions you really should be asking. Now, when hypnosis works, why does it work? Well, let me answer that question by asking you another one. Let's say you've been going to traditional therapy, that is talk therapy, insight-oriented therapy, like with a counselor, for some period of time now. And even though you really do understand what's been said and you've learned some things about yourself, and the truth is, it really all does make sense to you, still you're finding it hard to stop pulling your hair. Why would that be? Here's why. See, the stuff that makes you want to pull your hair, that is how you feel, well, that's all created at the unconscious level. That is to say, you're not consciously deciding to feel bad or stressed out or bored or whatever it might be, right? Of course not. Instead, our feelings just seem to come upon us, and usually quickly. See, conscious, logical, rational understanding of why you're doing what you're doing, although interesting, is rarely, if ever, curative. In fact, how many people do you know that even know darn well exactly what they're doing, and even know there are things they probably really shouldn't be doing anymore, and they may even have been to therapy for years and even know why they're doing what it is they do, but they just keep on doing it, right? That's because real lasting change rarely happens at the purely conscious level, that is, by way of conscious decision making. In fact, real lasting change, especially the kind that doesn't actually feel hard to make, that happens at the unconscious level. And that's why conventional conscious talk therapy is rarely the answer for something like trichotillomania, or really any kind of anxiety or stress-related problems. Because it's not the conscious part of us that creates the kind of states that make us want to pull our hair, it's the unconscious part of us. So somehow, some way, you've got to get to the subconscious mind. That's hard to do using conscious talk therapy, and that's because in normal waking consciousness, like what we have here, I'm talking to you, you're paying attention to me, there's this boundary that sits between your conscious and your unconscious minds. We call it the critical faculty. Okay? It's like a wall that separates your conscious and unconscious processes. And that's the thing that stops anything you might learn in traditional insight-oriented therapy from seeping deeper into your subconscious, because it's all being stopped at the gate by your critical faculty. Now, what hypnosis does is, when it's done right, it effectively removes the critical faculty, so it slides out of there. And now what do you have? Well, now any suggestions your hypnotherapist might make, now it can move unhindered down to the subconscious level where it can take root, and good things may now grow out of that. Does that make sense? So now that's why hypnosis works when it does work. It actually helps facilitate a state, a responsive state, that's receptive to positive suggestion. So what's the verdict? Does hypnosis work to help resolve trichotillomania? Well, you can probably guess what I'm going to say. You know, it depends on the person you work with, and really whether or not they know what they're doing. They may or they may not. And again, unfortunately, there's probably going to be no real good way for you to know, or perhaps to be sure in advance that you found someone like that. Regardless, for our part, we here at the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists do not engage in any kind of formal hypnosis with our clients. And like I said, that's not necessarily because hypnosis is bad, but rather we've just hit on something else that tends to not only be more comfortable for certain clients. You know, some people are very wary of hypnosis, and usually that's only because they think it's a kind of mind control or something. And that's out of ignorance more than anything else. But also what we do here and the way we do it, it just works faster and more easily, and really does make more conscious sense to our clients than hypnosis often does. I mean, when our clients get better, they know why they're getting better. When our clients get in their gut, which is where they really need to get it, the fact that they're really totally in control of this thing, they know why that is as well. And that's really important, because rather than just hoping your hypnosis session worked, now hope's not a part of the equation anymore. It's not about hope. It's about taking what you now know to be how to exercise easy, virtually effortless control of your pulling and putting that into action. We like it. Our clients seem to like it. What works, works, right? So I hope you found this video helpful. What do you think? Go ahead and hit the reply button below and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching this video through our Facebook community page, do feel free to like and share it. If you're watching this video at our YouTube channel or at our sister blog site, feel free to leave your questions and comments there. In fact, if you have questions about trichotillomania or hair pulling and you're just not quite sure where to go to get those questions answered, feel free to visit our questions and answers page at our website at www.trick-free.com/qa.html. And if you'd like to contact us to get some information about how we can help you or a loved one, feel free to visit our website at www.trick-free.com or to call us at any time of day or night toll-free at 833-TRICH-FREE. Thanks again for watching. I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists. Here's wishing you an amazing trick-free week.